We'll call the May 4th, 2026 special meeting to order. Today's discussion was going to be budget expenditure. So, April's working on the revenue side of it, but everybody got email.
Did not get an email with the spreadsheet. When was it sent?
So nobody. Brock, can you make copies for everybody?
A couple weeks ago. I didn't.
Maybe
10 days ago.
a few days ago.
Yeah. I didn't
I
print
didn't
it off.
shrunk to fit it. I shrunk to fit it so it wouldn't. On April 24th.
With the percentages at the end.
Yeah.
Then. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this is the general fund accounts and shows based on first around the 10th of April. So it'd be for about 3 1/3 months where we're at on expenditures by departments. I think the email said that, for instance, general courthouse is over because the insurance is paid in one installment. The employee benefits hasn't caught up yet because the changes didn't take effect until 5/1. So we're running, again, some departments were running over. The 360 energy project, that's a one or two payment a year. It's a total of 202,000. So, I mean, we're kind of there. You know, we want to make sure we keep up with our, like, get our percentages over. Brock, has April about got the?
She was trying to get it to balance when I left. I can go check on it real quick.
Yeah, if it's close to balance, then I'm good. Kind of difficult and time consuming to gather up all the revenue figures, but to get a clear picture, we got to have expenses and income together. Anyone got any questions on the expenses based on that report?
Just one, and maybe Angela's working on this. She said now that we knew who had selected which of the new plans, we should have an updated number, which would cover us from 5/1 through the end of the year. And that would alter our $4.812 million on employee benefits. I assume.
She's helping April get that thing
Okay.
fixed, and she'll be out here with those numbers also.
Anybody else got any?
Um, well, so overall, the average is for all the departments, the average is 30.48, right? So we're pretty much almost there if we just finish the first quarter of the year, right?
Right.
Like we're definitely close. So, I don't know. I just maybe it's just kind of hard to tell when it's just a single quarter
Right,
for me.
In the general fund, we're running 33%.
Yeah. So,
But then we had, the problem is we had income that we raised the bar on the income also.
Mhm.
That
Some of these that are over, I don't think you mentioned noxious weed, but they've already bought their chemical for the year.
Right.
So I mean, some of these are
they
when
have
the, when
income.
when
they have
and when
income
when
too.
the contracts are paid versus what part of the year they're paid. So that makes a big difference too.
Right. But then when noxious weed sells and they go buy
Right.
more.
But he's at 42%, but he's already bought the year of chemical too. So and then he's got to sell it. So it's not.
Well, a lot of people will pay the annual maintenance fee on equipment and whatnot in January.
Right.
So January is our biggest months.
Yeah, the contractual, it matters which month it's paid in, whether it's early in the year or later in the year.
January,
Brock, do you know what the refund is on the 360 project in February, or the credit?
No, we saw that, and I think April was gonna call them and see what that was about, because neither one of us understood why it was there. Thinking maybe, something got paid out of that account and then it was refunded back in. Like somebody took something out of the wrong line item.
Because it looks like we paid her annual fee in March.
Yeah, so we're guessing that some sort of something,
It's an unknown.
yeah.
Okay. And is the IT number on this correct or is it incorrect?
County Tech is correct on that one.
Okay.
Yes, that is the correct one on County Tech.
This through the end of April, or was April part of the month?
It's just partial, probably the first third, because
Because they don't jive with the other months.
no, I can't. Then the email came on the 24th, so it could have been half a month. Probably was our first meeting in April. Probably didn't include the second. Sorry, we'll get, there we go. Hello. Okay, so what was the prediction based on percentage of high and low? Which plan A was the low deductible? So it was basically 100%. Okay. So do you know where that, based on their projection of 75-25, it should be pretty easy to back that out.
What was the name of the fellow from IMA?
Nick.
Is that anything Nick could plug in and get us a number quickly? Yeah, let's see if maybe he can do that. Then we're at least in a ballpark that's generated by them.
So April, we can come back to that while Angela looks or calls.
In the column, the percentage, it's because we didn't.
So that makes a zero, or divide by
I need
zero.
to go fix the
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay. So April, as we look at the revenue report, I mean, if we go, we're seeing that
You've had, like,
the,
in current tax, you would have had your two biggest distributions now, because your January and March distribution are always going to be your biggest distributions.
right.
And so that's the reason why that percentage looks like it's up at this time. I cannot tell you on 1620M trucks why there's so much more of an increase there. Except that I'm wondering if part of that includes commercial vehicle fees, but I did try to call, or I did call the county treasurer earlier today and tried to find out where they deposit the commercial vehicle fees, the 1620M trucks, and then there's nothing credited for local sales tax right now, but she said that they always do a year-end journal entry for local sales tax.
Okay, so
And she didn't really have an answer for me on the commercial vehicle fees or the 1620M trucks.
So as we go delinquent real estate tax, we put 120,000 in, and we've collected 100 and collected more than that.
Now, a year to date, you've collected $83,200.97.
Oh, there. That's, I was trying to add that in. Okay.
Yeah. And then delinquent personal property, which we didn't budget
Right. Because we
for
didn't
that
know.
because we just didn't know, but you have collected $6,115.15 at this point. And
Okay.
again, those current percentage numbers that you're getting, it's because it's trying to divide it by zero, and so it's giving
Right.
us an error. And it was because nothing was actually budgeted in those line items.
So the local sales tax, we don't get, it's not posted, or we don't get.
No, she has it in a fund outside of the general fund, and then there is a journal entry that's done. You have CIC. I can look it up on CIC real quick.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Interest income were
I would need to find out from the treasurer why we were negative $144,516 in the month of February in interest income. I don't.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense either.
And I think if you find interest on investments,
The alcohol tax.
interest on investments in the month of March also had a negative amount of $23,081.37.
It shows a positive 36,000.
Interest on investments under motor vehicle transfer. If you look at that, it also shows that we had a negative $23,081.37. But for the year, we've collected $193,649.40. Again, I would have to get with Mary on why we would have a negative amount on interest.
Okay. Other small accounts. The Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is,
So you'll see in that first month that that was taken out. Do you remember how the auditor talked to us about needing to correct the way that's done in CIC or payroll and for the Blue Cross Blue Shield? So you will notice it's been corrected for February, March. We will need to do an audit journal entry again for January before that was corrected in the system.
okay.
And that's the BCBS line item?
I'm sorry.
That's the BCBS line item?
Yes.
Okay.
That should actually, we should not even have to have that on the revenue side. But I left it there because of the journal entry that we'll need to correct January, but that should be zeroed out now that we have it flowing correctly in the CIC system.
Okay. General fund, other income. I'm just trying to go down the road.
Yes, so general fund other income, that we budgeted $1,496,757. You've only collected $5,197.49 at this time.
So what does that represent?
I would have to find out from the treasurer what that represents.
Okay.
And I don't know if she couldn't be here today or.
Okay. Attorney fees.
That's the civil process fees that are collected by the
Right.
county attorney.
Register of deed fees, they're pretty much on track, maybe a little behind.
Yeah, I think you'll see. I know she makes a payment out to the state for the Heritage Tax Fund, and my guess is that that's the payment that went out in January. But then a portion of her funds each month then go back into the Heritage Tax Fund.
Okay, but in the register of deeds, county officer fees, probably, we budgeted 170 and we've only collected 32,000 to date.
Yes.
That will catch up.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that, that's 19% in 3 months. And so I think that we will see that will increase. Plus, her stuff is online now, where people pay a fee to look up their stuff online, and she does have that worked out finally.
And the city will pay the GIS.
Yes, we will bill them for that.
So have they billed them yet, or when we bill them?
I've not billed them yet. Scarlett and I have talked because we're going to have the SCDC employees that transferred to be city employees Friday. We're going to owe them for that. They still owe us for the fire station, and then they will owe us for the GIS. So
Okay. The jail board, is our jail not full, or is it full, or? Okay. So, I mean, we had 300,000 in income projected, and we're at,
you're at 64,296. And Jessica may be able to help better answer that. It looks like we got a payment in January. We didn't deposit anything for February. And then in March, we deposited $25,080. Okay.
okay, so rest of the sheriff fees were kind of behind.
Well, he is at 30.95% on his civil process fees.
Right.
His restitution is the only thing that looks
Pretty,
like it's not meeting budget at this time, or what we perceived the budget estimated the revenue to be. And I don't know, Ryan, in the absence of the sheriff, if you have any explanation on restitution.
okay, noxious weed reimbursements, that will be, those sales will occur.
Yeah, he just, ordered bulk product and really has gotten to the spring season here.
Okay, the ambulance we're running so.
Yeah. 23% in 3 months, because you're looking at first quarter numbers here. So just a little bit. I mean, you'd want to be at 25% for the quarter, so he's running real close
Right.
to that.
Overall, if you take the 1, 2, I mean, if you look at overall at the event center with the 4 deposits, booking fees, rent, and horse stall rental, we're, I mean, basically on our on our center rent, we're behind. And
Correct, but she does, and the reason why you're ahead on booking fees is because people have paid those booking
Right.
fees to hold their
right,
spots for future events. So
I know, I mean, but you look at all of them. I mean, the rent is the major portion
But
of the
if,
income.
but if booking's up, the other one will follow, right? The booking fees follow with the rent.
with what we should be getting in rent, yeah. And, part of the events that we have at the first part of the year, like you have Pancake Day out there, and you have the Chamber Bash, and you have less rent, I guess, events at the beginning of the year that don't pay the full price of the rent because they are nonprofits or.
Right, but well,
I did ask Linda and Mary, and they sent me the calendar. They handwrite on a calendar when events are booked. They sent that to me today, and I will place that in a spreadsheet for you so that it's a little easier to see by facility what's been rented for the year.
because I think we made a concession for multiple bookings for a party,
Mm-hmm.
and that was based on there's only, this was January, February, there was only 6 available weekends.
But I do believe when we discussed that with Linda that night, she said that they had already put some on the books in hopes that we would work with them. So they might have already had some of those dates previously booked with her.
Did she go ahead and book those dates?
As far as I know, Linda called me and told me, and I don't remember which option she chose based on the
But she
options
did
that you
something.
gave her. Yes, she
Okay.
came in to see Linda after that and decided on the option that would work best for her.
Okay.
Are we normally at 46% of revenue in the first quarter on an average year?
Yeah, that because your two
we're
biggest
front-loaded with our
distributions
distribution.
are
Okay.
January and March.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess well, I mean, civil defense, we're way short there, but apparently there was a grant that wasn't applied for.
And what I apologize. Oh, yes, civil defense in the middle of the transition in emergency management from when Tim left, and then we put rural fire, it under rural fire. They missed a deadline in getting the grants applied for. Because typically we receive a grant that covers the salaries for emergency management.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think last year the grant was $95,000.
Okay, road and bridge. They have more income than they projected. Does that continue, Mark?
I would question. I mean, honestly, I would question some of that current tax money compared to what we budgeted, because that was into what we've collected. I mean, I would question if there's possibly some state of Kansas money that was deposited into that fund, possibly.
It should have been in a different fund.
That wouldn't be in your operating budget. That would have been in special highway. Yeah. This is just your general operating budget because we don't collect taxes for your special highway or your road and bridge equipment.
Okay.
I think maybe, I will try to schedule something with the county treasurer once she's through the R&R process. I'm marking some of these things that
Yeah. Because I mean,
are
to
being
me, it's
questioned.
just as important that we firm up our expenses and our revenue. Make sure it's getting to the right accounts. We're getting it. We're staying on track with what we projected. If not, we have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, and so those weren't budgeted. So these are just what was budgeted for you, for them to be able to levy taxes against for what you would need. So again, that's income that's come in, but it isn't reflected in these tax numbers that are budgeted. And were have you sold millings in 26 or just in 25? Both. I knew you did in 25, but I didn't know if you had any deposits yet for 26 for millings. And did that go back into your highway fund? Mm-hmm. I would put that into your material funds for the culvert. Now, millings, to me, that would go back into your special highway fund because that's where the millings came from. But your culverts, I mean, we zeroed out your materials budget this year for any road materials, but I would think like your culvert that people are paying for and such, because you haven't had to purchase any culverts at this time, right? These were ones that were held in inventory. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to make sure they go into a revenue account though. And so if we need to help you, Stacia, help talk me through that because they were already in inventory. So would we consider it a reimbursement? Okay, so then if we're going to consider it a reimbursement, then you have a reimbursement line item that can go into in your 205 account. Mm-hmm. I bet we can do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so as we go along, I guess the health department.
I also wanted to touch on county building because in the budget work sessions and when you guys were reducing the budget, you had decided that you were not going to take, after the initial distribution in January, the instructions were to not take additional distributions because of the carryover that we had. But I noticed that we did have current tax for February and March. So again, I'm going to need to check with the treasurer to make sure that they remembered that we weren't going to take another distribution into that account after January.
But it should go in the...
Should remain in your general fund.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The rest of them are kind of, they're right on track, I guess. We're missing some.
So
We haven't transferred general from the county equipment, county technology. Landfill. We're behind on the landfill considerably.
Software issue still. ACHs and bank reconciliation stuff is taking forever to do software.
So what's the... We're months into it, and we thought it'd be pretty much cleared up.
We do have our ACH account of about $1.7 million. It's in there right now. It's switched around back and forth. I know I talked to Brock the other day, and to make our life easier, we're talking about trying to actually incorporate baseball and landfill in one solid budget instead of working two different ones. That would make our time a lot better.
But the cash flow pays the bills. So
You don't anticipate a shortfall once your ACH catches up.
Once we get back
Okay.
shortfall with the software, with billing,
Right.
stuff down to Seward Energy, as well as the city. Just between those two entities right there was close to $1 million. We're just trying to track it through. Once we got that stuff and it started to roll back in there, we'll get it back up and it should level itself back up.
So has the billing issue been resolved? We're just collecting the money, or we still?
The billing issue seems to be somewhat resolved, but it's taking a majority of our time trying to keep everything correct. The software has been a nightmare and a half since we found it. I'm not gonna lie.
So What's our timeline for being 100%?
Hoping that we are about there about June is where I'm hoping that where everything should be rolling a little bit smoother. I can't make no promises either.
So we're over 6 months into this.
Since September.
What we can do is ask the software company to have another meeting with you. They did that at one time, and you guys got pretty firm with them, and I think. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who is their contact? I mean, who's our contact?
You mean who is their contact with the county?
Yeah, who writes them to get this done?
Well, Brock and Tyler have both been meeting with them along with Amanda Kolb.
Once a week with issues that we got going on, trying to get it resolved. Because we are still not just fighting the billing side, we're also still fighting the routing side for our trash trucks. There's multiple things that we're still fighting.
And it's kind of one of those things that they discussed with you. You get in so deep with it that you really can't back out of it because they're not supporting the old system. That's why we had to go to a newer system. But it definitely helped, I think, when they met with you guys and we told them, hey, the commissioners are upset about this and it's damaging operations. And
It's our cash flow. That's how we pay the bills.
mm-hmm.
So, you guys want to have another meeting with them? Yes. So,
Tyler, would you be able to get that? Do you want them in an open meeting, or do you want, I mean, it would be an open meeting regardless, but a work session style or in a regular meeting agenda?
work session setting's fine with me, or, I mean, it's either one. We got to get the ball rolling and keep it going.
And I know that you guys have become, or some have become, somewhat frustrated with work sessions, but, you know, the May 18th work session is scheduled for wind farm. If you guys are agreeable to that this evening, I know Brady with fire department, I don't know if he's in here, but he's needing a work session. And then you have this that we need for a work session. So are you guys willing to come in between meetings instead of just reserving them for commission meeting days?
Well, can I interject one question here, Steve? Tyler, are we at the point with the software company where maybe the next step is having Forrest work with you? It seems like you're so far into this.
The money is there. We're still collecting.
Right.
We just got to get moved over. So it's part software, part staffing, and being able to get everything going. It's not just on 100% on MCS.
Okay.
But the money's there. It's just you got to get.
So they're working with you to resolve the issues. Okay.
I say that it's the worst thing that we've ever had. But even if we got Forrest involved and we chained over, we're going to start right back on the system again. Same thing as with the county plan and CIC issues. I mean, it's new things cause more problems. I mean, auto pays were a horrible issue. I think we got 90% of everybody that was on auto pay re-signed back up on auto pay. But it's taking us more time because you guys probably do it as well. When you're on auto pay and you think your bills are getting paid every month, what do you do when you see those invoices? Throw it away.
Yep.
So that's where some of our cash flow issue went from. Is customers not reading the invoices that we send to them or the emails. They're just like, oh, it's my bill payment receipt for the week. So that's kind of where we're running
Or
from.
not open the door.
Getting things removed. We still have revenue coming in. It's just the ACHs from the bigger accounts that are getting harder to try to reconcile back to post to the account so we can post it and get the money changed out. So money's there, it just has not been posted into the revenue.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting don't do a work session, but how would you want the commission to help you if we do a work session with the software company? What's our role there?
The only thing we do, maybe put a fear on it. They also know that they're the leading into this. They're the leading ones for it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not much more that we can do to get from them that we're not already trying to work through, other than taking more of their time off. That's about it. I don't know if forest and legal issues are the way we want to start yet, all the way, because, you know.
That's probably, it sounds like that's a step too far for where you really are. Yeah. So are we better off just letting you and Brock as needed continue to work with them?
We are trying to.
Okay.
You guys do what you got.
Did they fix their error where they were collecting money in other states?
That has been completely fixed, yes. That was a weird.
Well, that's what they promised about, yes. They promised the board.
That was done. That was fixed and done, and we brought that up to you guys, and that was all finished.
Okay, so you're saying the money is there.
It's sitting in the Bank of Beaver City account. 1.7 million plus is sitting in that account. It's going to be transferred and reconciled where I can move it and put it in a correct account statement.
So is it drawing interest while it's sitting there?
To reconciliate the different funds, because when you have, let's say DCP, Seward, all your major oil field companies that do business with us right now, when they send it in a check or ACH that goes into it, they're not reconciling to an account. We have to try to find where that account is. Like DCP has 25 different accounts.
Yeah.
So we have to search to find out where that is, credit it to that account, and go back and do it that way. When we have the lag of behind, it put us behind where we are to be able to reconcile that to get all that money set. And that's where we are right now, is trying to play catch up in the last 8-9 months.
So, April, based on this revenue report, or Mary, what accounts the money in? In which fund? Okay. On the revenue report, what fund is it in?
So that money that we're talking about, which is setting in our checking account that we've got to distribute between the two line items.
Okay.
Commissioners, this is one reason that the software that we had to go with, there's not very many software companies that incorporate the scale with the hauling. That when Tyler and I talked, that was kind of the one thing that we were going to look at. If we did one budget and did it all under one, say Seward County landfill and not Seward County waste, then it may simplify a lot of our problems with the software if we just did one budget and had one major account to put the money into. It'd be easier to track instead of having the software recognize the scale as Seward County landfill and then the routing software recognizing it as Seward County waste management and then the two talking. That's where a lot of the problems with the software have occurred.
We had the same issue with the old software, like you gave the example of DCP. Same issue.
So that one ran a lot, with a lot more simple compared to this one. I mean, it was definitely an older account, so I guess you would say kind of like the AS400 the county used to have. Everybody got used to running that and went a lot faster. Now we have I will say the new system to input a customer is like 5 to 6 different steps. When it was the old system, it would take us, 1, 2 steps and it's done. This one is causing more steps to make sure it's correct. It's a lot more difficult, a lot more complex, especially running 2 businesses off of one software is what's causing, I believe, 90% of our problems.
Okay, so anybody got any other questions on the revenue report, other than it's there somewhere?
I am. Oh, are you wanting to talk total revenue report, or are you looking at something
No, the
specific?
total revenue report.
Okay, because Angela was able to get some numbers on employee benefits. So the county cost per employee that they're contributing, we're increasing $53,571. And then the money that we're saving for the annual total cost for switching plans is $642,847.20. There will be some additional savings, but it's hard for us to know exactly what those are going to be right now, because you did have 21 people that opted out of not taking insurance with the county. So we went from 208 eligible down to 179 employees that are covered. Yeah, and thank you. And IMA calculations were ran off of 201 at the time that they did it. That's how many people we had covered on the insurance when they figured these numbers. So
How does that compare to the numbers Nick gave us when he was here? I mean, I don't know if you have both of those together.
that is the difference.
That is the difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
So originally they thought employees were going to be contributing $335,149.40. They're actually contributing $388,720.
Okay.
And then they thought the annual cost was going to be $4,664,640, and it's actually $4,021,792.80.
So between the people that went somewhere else and the difference in the sign up, that's actually a significant number between the two.
Mary is here now, so she may be able to answer some of the questions. I know if I was in her shoes, I might have to go back and look at it, but yeah.
Saved on the health insurance because we were projecting 850. That's what I've got wrote down, but we were projecting 850 when we were doing that work session. That it was going to save.
This is savings from his initial projection. Doing a change, we were projecting 850.
Oh, I think wasn't it 850 on the new plan that
So,
we were?
but that's in addition, Cotton, from what you just figured. So, because it went down, right, to what he had projected.
So you're trying to say you got another 600,000 on what we were planning on with the 850 that we.
Well, that's what I'm not sure about.
Because I don't think we made it.
No, that's what,
I think we're 200 short.
What's wrong?
Clay has a question.
Because we were estimating 850,000 savings in what we were doing by the health insurance, and we're coming in at call it 650 for rough numbers, 200 short.
I think, but I do think you'll have some additional savings, and I think we made some additional cuts in employee benefits to total 1.5 million, I think was the total. I'd have to pull my notes on that.
So this doesn't include any of the RX plan or those other,
No,
items.
this is just
just purely the
Yes.
policies
the
themselves.
health and dental policy itself. Yep.
Because the RX savings alone were more than 200, were they not?
Yeah. What? Rebates were 460,000. Plus the people that are on the IMA pharmaceutical, I think we had saved 300. And she has my.
So we're 200 good.
What I was thinking.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
What do you think,
This
John?
is a reduced budget.
Yes.
We were budgeting 4.6. We're going to come in at least 4.2. We're
That's what I think.
400 better than we
I'm
thought.
just trying to make sure we're not 200 short.
No, I think and of course we won't get that much because we're only half year on this policy, or 7 months.
right.
May 1st forward. So you'd have, however you want to do the math on that. But yeah, it's going to come in below the 4.8 quite a bit. So I think we're plus.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just would like to get the I think off of it.
Get the what?
I would like to get the I think off of it. That we know.
Well, this is the cut budget.
Yes.
Expense reports that you have, your annual budget numbers are what you guys cut to. Or in the part of the revenue, to increase some of the revenues. So this was the new budget that
So-
I put on these sheets.
So before you got in here, I think we were assuming, is this through like April 10th on this sheet?
Yes, so we have
So it's-
closed out.
So it was like 3.3 months at this point, right? That's 27.5% of the
in
year.
revenue report I just did the first quarter, so through March.
Pretty close.
Um,
So this
we're probably
this is real close, depending on when the contractual came through and what we paid when.
It should be probably 30%, right?
27.5. But when those contracts are paid, that's the.
So Angela just.
Okay, so we're pretty much on target. That's the main thing, both revenue and expenses.
Mary, do you know the local sales tax fund? So it looks like so far. I'm looking for the local sales tax, not the health sales tax, the local sales tax. So that's 686 then. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's the fund I'm looking for to be able to tell them what we've collected in sales tax so far. I know the health sales tax number because I work directly with that one, but I don't work with your local sales tax form or fund. 140. Might be able to, yeah. Because right now in the local health sales tax, which is the quarter cent sales tax, we've collected $466 or $466,412. So I don't know if we could. Let me see if I can run a fund balance to find the account number. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I have access to what you're talking about. So go to the reports and do a fund.
So rather than hastily go over these, can you get these answered by the next meeting?
I'm trying to pull this up real quick for you. Somebody that can see better than me is going to help the that's
Okay, so April, rather than hastily going over this and perhaps getting misspeaking, not purposely, but making sure it's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Can you answer these questions and have it to us at our next board meeting?
I can look at it and have it to you this week.
Okay.
And then Jessica will work with you if you can help look into the jail board reimbursements.
And
What about the interest we were talking about earlier?
it's
The road and bridge.
It's paid. The insurance, the property and casualty is but one payment, correct?
You say insurance or interest?
Insurance. Oh, interest.
Yeah,
Interest on what?
because there's
Oh,
negative numbers there and stuff.
yeah, Mary, that was. Yeah. Yeah, they're all in the 100 that they were looking at. They were looking at interest on investments for the month of March. It's negative $23,081.37.
I just was curious.
But the interest on income was also 144,000 negative.
We don't budget the account, the funds that she's referring to, like 545, 686. We don't budget revenues for those funds. That's where she is, I'm assuming, collecting the funds and then it's moved, distributed into the general fund from there. Because in the month of February, the interest on income is a negative 144,516.09. So then for the year, it's showing year to date then that we're negative 65,385.95. And so I'm just pulling these from a revenue report.
Okay, so April, you have the
Off
question.
revenue reports. So I was asked to pull this information for you guys into a spreadsheet where you could see the individual
Right.
lines because you didn't want to have to go through the entire
I understand.
CIC report. I can show Mary the revenue reports that these numbers were pulled from for each month.
Right. You and Mary and Stacia can get together and get these questions answered and or journal. And I mean, it's obviously there's something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what it is. But
Yeah, I can get with Stacia and Mary and show them the
Okay.
report that I pulled.
and
And yes, we are having to manually enter this information, but that's at their request because that's what they want to see.
I do. So
And that is a CIP report that I have converted into, I mean, I
right.
can change the number.
No,
I just converted it into a perfect.
you guys have anything to add? I mean, just get our questions answered.
Well, one general question, Steve, is at some point, do we have a timeline to finalize this so we have the final amended budget?
You don't have to, I mean, that's, I understand you guys want to do line items, which is fine, but that's not required to approve the budget. The funds, each fund, and it's the funds that we collect tax for, like general fund, water bridge, so. As far as you guys individually,
I have explained that, but my opinion has been questioned, and the media, as well as I understood, Commissioner Stanton want it to have another public hearing and want to publish a new budget, even though that is not required.
Well,
That's what they-
I have conflicting information, and I'm happy to read anything you want to send my way on this. I thought ultimately we had something from Forrest that said we should follow that process. Am I wrong?
He agreed to do that after Watt Box made another complaint to the Board of Tax Appeals. He told me that we would just do it. So that's
Okay, so if
yeah,
we're just
so-
going to do it, and I don't care why we're doing it, do we have a time parameter in which we're going to do it? I mean, I realize we have some unanswered questions, but are we
now
shooting-
it's
do
just
we have
going-
date X we're looking for to do it?
I would say we could do it at your next meeting, but we need to be able to advertise a public hearing with the correct time
Can
limit
that
on it.
hearing be at the meeting?
Yes.
It doesn't
You
have
can
to
do
be
it the
separate?
same time as you
Okay.
do. I just have to make sure it's 10 days. So I would have to,
and I'm just gonna say, these numbers are not changing from what we published already. But basically, she's gonna add line items for department and how much they have to spend.
Well, because you did all your revenue stuff. Yeah, I understand.
well,
So when we approve the budget,
Yeah.
it's not any different than what we just approved, whatever date it was.
yeah.
Well, we did that in February, right? Okay, we were talking about
That
that.
is the
Yeah.
budget as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, that bottom line number won't change.
So, but that one's not on the website. It still looked like we had the one that had been signed last fall up for 2026.
And to answer your question, the reason why we're trying to go back line item by line item was because the night that we had the work session and you guys asked Dustin to supply us with a new budget to be published, he didn't know where to take that information out because when we did the additional 6%, it wiped out contractual and commodities for several of the budgets. So he zeroed those out and then he took the remainder out of salaries because he didn't know what else to do. And so I think that some people don't, I mean, it's not realistic to think that we're not going to have any contractual or commodities in several departments.
Well, there was also, and I'm not trying to reopen anything, we also had a discussion at some point about those one-person departments or those departments without other line items. And I personally recall the discussion being, it's not the intention to cut there. It's, we're going to find another way to deal with things. Am I
Well, and I
misremembering
also
that?
remember in the general plan, you also understood that it is possible for each department or some of the departments to actually go over. in the general, because they have no trucks that come up. If there's some things, if it's a contract, you have to pay it. So, I don't see it happening a lot, and I think if it happens, it's gonna be substantially over, you need to hold it to account.
But is anybody getting dinged 6% on salaries that we need to revisit? That's my question.
No, not yet. Everybody's tried to, some departments have cut hours. Some people, I would say most people have cut out all overtime. The exception, like, is in my department with Hillary, because she will work election, and Stacia relies heavily on her and Greg. I know for sure. I know there are others to help with election, and so my budget will be hit for overtime and that.
But right now,
in
we
that
don't
aspect.
have anybody we've put in a situation we did not intend to
No.
on salary dings.
We're
Okay,
We can get
we're only
salary.
3 months into the new year.
I understand that.
Well, but they're saying salaries. They wouldn't deem him for salaries out of that. So. Well, they're saying EMS is a concern because of the staff, and they work 24-hour shifts and on call and all of that. He's concerned because it's cutting another $26,000 out of the EMS budget, and he has nowhere else to take that from besides salary. And even if you took it from salary, then people are going to be working more overtime and taking more call. And so what I hear you saying is that you will take that into consideration.
But he also has income also.
And we did raise his income to $510,000 this year.
Right.
But you do have quarter-cent health sales tax that you can apply towards his budget as well. Because your health department budget alone does not use your entire sales tax collection for health. Right. For any health-related reason, which includes EMS. The only thing I want to caution the commissioners about, and we've done this before, if it wasn't to this extent, but on your audit, when you have your audit done for 2026 and 27, it's going to show every department that was over budget. So just know that your audit's going to show that. Even if they were in the general fund, they break that down by department. So it's going to look like that you had, 8, 10 departments that are going to be over budget. I know you guys know why, and hopefully the public understands why, but I just wanted you to know your audit report will reflect that.
And then one last question, April. So on our expenditure report, the general fund number's staying where we had it. And general fund revenues have changed slightly, so we're showing roughly $2.1 million. The plan is that goes into rollover. It is a cushion
Yes,
in the
so-
event of disaster,
Well-
all of the above.
Well, when the commissioners wanted to go back revenue neutral, then remember you made the determination that you wanted to actually carry over the same amount of carryover that we had this year. So that added in addition to going revenue neutral. So that's the reason
roughly
why
that number.
for some of
Okay.
those changes.
Okay. Anyone got any questions on the?
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to ask, are we ready for me to be able to send out the memos to the outside agencies and the departments to start working on budget?
Yeah, that's in 3 months, 2 months.
I've got one follow-up on that, Steve, if I might, because there was some misunderstanding about the conversation. It was essentially Stacia, me, and April had a month ago.
Okay.
And I have the transcript. It's,
Okay.
computer to text, so it's not accurate, but kind of where we left off was April's last comments. If you guys want to have another work session, decide what those parameters and guidelines look like before we send out the memos to the department heads this year. And then you said, well, I think we could even circulate within the allowances of the Open Meeting Act, just so we're all on the same page when that memo goes out. Is that still functional?
Absolutely. And I always carbon copy the commissioners on the email that goes out to the outside agencies and then to your internal departments and elected officials.
And I think the intent
Yeah.
this year was just that we round robin it, whatever you want to call it, before it goes out, just so we all know exactly what's going out.
But there has been discussion about us changing the parameters or the process or how we want them submitted. And that's what I need to know so that we can start.
I have 4 very simple suggestions in that area, which I'm happy to send you.
Okay. And I know because we did change it this year and we budgeted revenue, we've never technically,
Yeah, we've got time. Go ahead.
I didn't print it out, guys. I'm sorry.
I can share it with everybody.
Yeah,
who
that's
wants
fine.
it.
I'll send it to you tomorrow.
Um,
It's short, 4 bullet points.
so your reports are what will be submitted because in CIC, spreadsheets are now sent to the department heads for them to automatically fill in, and then they can put their explanation on each line item if they want. And then that is converted back into, we just export that in back into CIC. So you're going to see, I know last year you struggled with not having revenue and expenditures. The way we've changed this,
Now you can do that.
you can do that. Yes.
We're still working on that because it's new to all the departments, so it might show a little difference, but I think next year when we budget for police, you'll have a better understanding of the line items, how much they need, so it'll be more accurate.
And I think too, because of the cuts that we're having to make this year, people are going to have to look at that and figure out how to submit that next year. So, yeah. But otherwise, are you guys okay with the way I knock that off all the time? The way the outside agencies are submitting their budgets, they do not use our CIC spreadsheets. A lot of them, they send in their tax information. They break down, they have their own accounting systems where they give you
Seems
like
fine.
balance sheet, profit and loss statements, and then meeting minutes and stuff for you to look at. Do you have any issues with the way they've submitted?
Look, outside agencies don't have their expenditures. You know, we're approving a fixed amount.
Right.
So
But a lot of them do give you that so
no,
you
we,
can see
we
where the
request the
money's
financials.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
or income tax statements, right?
Right.
So
So I think we're good then for me to get memos sent out this week. Okay. Well, if I can get the
Okay.
changes.
Any other-
See, I see.
So you're not going to go over your points?
I didn't print them out.
You don't have them?
They're not. That's what I was looking for a while ago. I thought I printed it, but I don't. And I don't want to just try to reconstruct them on the fly. I'll send them to April in the morning and she'll distribute them to everybody.
I got you. Okay.
And it's literally just 4 suggestions that I think would make the process move smoother for everybody.
I think the only other thing that I would want to confirm is that I've always just been the collector of the budgets from the department heads based on the memo that we send out. And we simply put that information into your binder and then that's distributed to the commissioners to look at.
Some of the guardrails or guidelines are going to address that so
Okay.
that you aren't getting, in my scenario here, if someone submits a budget to you that requires a 50% increase in their budget, you're going to have a little meeting with them or you're going to send it back and say, "Nuh-uh."
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that point because I know it's been misrepresented that I submitted the budgets for the departments and I do not do that. So,
okay. Anything else? Got a motion to dismiss?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stanton, a second by Commissioner Vasquez to adjourn. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 5-1.